Off we go.
Welcome, guys and gals. Welcome back to Umineko. My name is Clepid. My name is John, and I'm here with Matt.
I'm Matt.
He's Matt.
Hello.
I actually said his name for
Yes.
once. And we're on to Chapter 4.
Right on, brother.
No ridiculous boat stuff. We're already at the first day.
Are we on the plane right now?
Oh, we are on the plane. Oh, so this is happening. I thought we were skipping over that.
I love this music though.
What?
What?
大丈夫かバトラ君
Fall, fall.
I was gonna say.
Oh no, not this again.
もう地上やでこれ以上は落ちへんで
Wait. Wasn't that originally about the boat, not the plane? Or was
I
he?
think so.
Or did he have trouble on the plane too?
I think he had trouble on the plane as well.
Mm. Shut up, you little demon. We know what you are. Stop pretending to be this cute little girl.
In the lobby of the Nijima airport, Maria dashed around in excitement. Battler's uproar in the plane must have been very funny to her.
Where's the slap?
ごめんねバトラ君。気を
When's
悪
it
くしないでね。
情けねえ男だなお前はでけえ図体して相変わらず乗り物はダメなのかようるへえ人間誰しも苦手なもんの一つや二つ
バトラ君、今度おばさんと一緒に海外旅行に行きましょうよ。
How about no?
That sounded kind of seductive.
半日も飛行機に乗ってればきっと克服できるわよ。
母さんもよしなよ。バトラ君の乗り物嫌いはきっと遺伝だよ。
ああ、アスムさんの？
あいつどういうわけか乗り物系がダメでな自転車と車以外はほぼダメだったさどこか遠出しようとするとあれはダメだこれはダメだ
Who is this? Is this Battler's actual mother?
Battler's biological mom.
Yeah.
怖い怖い落ちる落ちる
Technically,
ギャーギャーとうるせえ
Rudolph's
女だったさ
mistress while he was married to Kyrie, and then he broke up with her and got back together with Kyrie. Is that what it was? Right, because she said that
He was dating Kyrie and then cheated on her with Battler or
with
No! No, I did not say that.
I hope not.
I'm sorry.
Oh man. With Battler's mom.
Yes.
Not Battler.
And then yeah, so basically that happened.
子供は親が苦手がるものを危険だと学ぶものです。きっとバトラ君はアスムさんのそういうところを見て乗り物は怖いものだと覚えてしまったんでしょうね。
アスムさんの遺伝子ってわけかしら。
さあなだとしたら迷惑な遺伝子だなアスムの話はよせ今ここにいるのはお前だそうだろ
そうね。ごめんなさい。
Yeah.
Jealousy.
おい、
Yeah.
ハイヤーが来たでちょうど3台や乗るで乗るで
Shut up. I just want to cut her off every time she starts talking.
Yeah.
待て待て待ち上がれくすぐりの刑に称してやる
元気でいいわ。バトラ君とマリアちゃんがいてくれなかったら機内の空気はさぞや硬かった。
ありがとうよ言葉通りの意味で受け取っとくぜほらガキどもタクシー来てるぞお遊びは後にしろい
Cut the crap. Let's get to the island. Ooh, this is a new background.
Yeah, it is.
Huh.
They're not even on Rokenjima.
No. They're taking a taxi?
こら
From
マ
the
リアも
airport
バ
to
トラ
the
君も
dock.
もうはしゃがない。
Maybe?
人にぶつかるわよ。
The tone of Auntie Rose's voice became a little frightening. Battler 2 had started to think that perhaps he was really fooling around too much when, just as expected, he bumped into someone.
バトラ君たちはあっちの車だよ。待たせちゃってるよ。
Rushed on by George, Battler made an apologetic gesture to the person he had bumped into and ran up to his parents who were telling him to come quickly.
Who was it?
I don't know.
Who
They're
did he
not
bump
saying.
into?
With
That's a
clunking
Chekhov's
sounds...
gun. That's gonna come up later. I promise.
It will. With clunking sounds, the doors on the 3 taxis were shut one after another, and they departed, heading for the harbor. As their taxis dashed away,
Is it frickin' Angie?
their entire world grew suddenly dull and slowed to a halt. Voices, the wind, and even sound. Absolutely everything ceased, as if they had been frozen in the instant a photo was taken. Everything moving or about to move stopped. People, machines, clock hands, even the dust dancing in the wind, frozen. People were in the middle of walking, frozen, with one foot still raised. Scraps of paper dancing in the wind, frozen, pinned in midair. And among these stationary figures in this world that had come to a standstill, a single one moved.
Yeah.
Chekhov's gun. It was a woman.
Not just any woman.
The very woman that Battler had just bumped into. Wow, man, you sniffed that out real fast.
Yeah, you mentioned something like that and just let it go? It's gotta be important, right?
Yeah. It was truly the slightest of movements. Her
But
gaze
wouldn't
dropped.
Wouldn't he wreck it? Oh, no. Because she's so much older. Because
Yes.
she, like, time traveled.
Yes.
Okay. So
Her
he
gaze...
wouldn't recognize her.
No, I don't think so. Unless he bumped into her, but she was, as she's a, not a piece, but the player version of her somehow collided from her 4th dimension perspective.
Right, yeah.
So, like, he actually didn't bump into her, but thought he bumped into something, maybe?
But he didn't see because she's actually a player, not a piece.
Yeah, what could have happened was he thought he bumped into something, but was talking to George, so he's just like, oh, sorry, and didn't look back to see who he bumped into. He might not have even bumped into anybody at all. He might have just sensed bumping into something, and it was Angie who's in a different dimension.
Right.
If she's a player and not a piece.
Which we don't know which she is yet.
But she looks like a player considering she's stopping time.
Right, yeah.
And we haven't seen her on the island before.
Mm-hmm.
And there are no more than 18 people on the island.
Right, so she can't be.
I don't think she's a piece. Unless this game, there's a person missing and she's replacing them. Let's see.
Yeah.
Her gaze dropped, her shoulders lowered a minuscule amount, and she sighed, that was all. In a normal world, that probably wouldn't even count as movement. But in this still world, it looked very out of place. Then something else moved. It was a black cat that had been dozing off in the shadows near the taxi rank. It came right up behind the woman, and leisurely changed its form into that of a human. What? Professor McGonagall, is that you? It wasn't a cat. It was a witch. Of course, the woman was also a witch. As the witch stood there, her gaze still downward, she muttered.
みんなが六軒島へ行くのを私は止められないのね。
She looks like a player.
止められないわ。1986
Especially if
年
she's talking to
10
Veronica
月
still.
4日に、私がここにいたならみんなを止めることも不可能ではなかったの。
Oh, or she's not even a player and she's just somehow going back in time and seeing this as a flashback.
But, I mean, at the end of last episode, she
どう立ち回
interfered.
れば
Oh yeah, that's true,
彼らを
huh?
引き返させることができるのか。
Maybe
I don't know
she,
what
yeah,
she is.
Maybe she's not a piece, but maybe she's not a player either. Maybe she's just something else entirely.
That could be it.
Change the rules of the game somehow.
Maybe she's the true protagonist this entire time. The
Could be.
narrator.
That would actually be really interesting.
Everything was just Angie's narration.
Yeah.
That would be
But
interesting,
it
yeah.
switched perspective so much that... Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Angie is God. This is her entire world.
I believe it.
私には想像もつかないけれど
She's an insane person dreaming about all of her family dying in the past.
In like four
Okay, put it this
separate
way.
dreams.
The only thing we can confirm is true is that Angie exists as a person because we've seen her in the future. We don't even know anything on the island is real or not because the freaking magic. We don't
Oh,
even know
so
what's
there is magic now, John, huh? Really?
Well, the illusion of magic.
Right.
We don't know what's real, what's not. What if, like, all this has just been happening in our dreams?
Or just a really bad LSD trip. You know?
That's funny, yeah.
そうねもしこの場にいたなら確率はゼロではなかったがゼロでない確率ならば私は奇跡を探し出せる私が体調を崩して置いていかれなければ
With her head facing downwards, the witch tightened her fist. They were trembling very slightly.
あなたが寝込んだのは1986年10月そしてベアとのゲーム版は10月4日から切り取られているあなたには体調を崩さない可能性が与えられていないつまりあなたは本来絶対にゲーム版に上がれない存在なのよ
Well, she's not a piece.
恩着せがましくてありがとう分かってるわこうしてお父さんやお母さんやお兄ちゃんの元気そうな姿を見られただけでも
Okay, let's think about something else though. So if all of these chessboard games are repeating, and they're all like playing on a game, and we see Angie in the future, that she was obviously talking to Ava, who's apparently in the hospital dying. So Angie
Right.
exists. Now, there's this game board, right? And
Yeah.
Battler and Beato are fighting it on the game board with all these people dying on the island, and it's repeating itself. But, so if you look at it this way, everything that's happening on the island that's repeating itself is just taking place on a game. Obviously, one of these game board simulations, per se, had to have been like the real one, right? Because we do see Angie in the future 12 years later, or it's 12 years later, I think?
Yeah, it's 12 years.
We
And
see her-
it is a known historical fact that everyone died except Ava.
Yes.
So does that mean that episode 3 is the real occurrence, and now she's like, is this gonna catch up with the end of episode 3 with her jumping through the window and saving Battler?
I don't know, because episode 3 was still taking place on a game board. Maybe Beato and Battler are somehow managed to recreate what actually happened, but I feel like anything that took place on the game board couldn't have really been what actually happened. I feel like what actually happened is predating the game boards, and they're just making
Oh, yeah.
they're fighting a replica of what happened.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that's a really, really good idea. Because if we go by the assumption that all of this magic is just an illusion,
Mhm.
or that, we're being fed what whoever wants us to see,
Yes.
then there has to be a way, realistically, physically, that the murders could have happened without magic, and that's gotta be
Yes.
the actual events.
That's gotta be what happened, what led to Ava and Angie in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
There's gotta be, like, one legitimate murder under Kenjima that happened that led to them, and all of these are, like, I guess, replications of that on the game board. They're fighting it out for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, obviously, we've restarted the game. This is gonna be the 4th time, if this is another variation. it's gonna be the 4th time restarting it, and like not all of these things could have happened simultaneously and be all true. So something has to be true, and all or most of these, if not all of these, have to be replications.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Good stuff.
thinking about that is interesting.
これはとても素敵な奇跡なんだって分かってるもの。
Angie had been trying to stand in the way of her family and prevent them from going outside the airport towards Rikenjima. But that was impossible for Angie, who could not exist there on October 4th, 1986. Just receiving a shoulder bump and words of apology from her older brother. Oh! Theory!
Okay.
Angie is the Beatrice that Battler's fighting on the game board.
Huh.
Because obviously, okay, so we don't know too much about Angie, but Battler and Beato's Battler and Beato are fighting each other with these chessboard matches for a reason. And if the reason's like Angie coming back trying to make him understand something that would somehow save all of them.
Right.
I don't know about that though.
The Beato that he's been fighting on the game board has been committing the murders and has been, at least what they're showing us, like the whole her changing was just a farce, you know?
Okay, but what if the person... Okay, this might be a stretch, but what if the person that Battler's fighting is, like, on the chessboard, the players, Battler versus Beato, that Beato is different than the Beato that is murdering people in the game?
So you're saying that player Beato is different from piece Beato?
Yeah, because player Beato is obviously... I mean, from my perspective, it seems like player Beato, the person murdering everybody on the island, is one of the 18 people that people are hallucinating them or seeing them as Beato, when really they're just one of the other people, either disguised or dressed up as her, or tricking them into believing that they're a witch when they're just one of the people.
Oh, wait, yeah. Okay, no, I think... Because what if the Golden Land isn't the Golden Land? It's the ending where all of them survive. And player Beato is actually Angie trying to get Battler to believe in Beato as a witch, because that would bring about the good ending.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Because in the question mark, she became a witch, right?
Yes.
So what you're saying is, if Angie is actually player Beato, she's trying to get Battler to believe that she's a witch, and that will bring everything, that will like change the course of destiny.
Yeah, that'll somehow change the course of actions that actually happened 12 years ago and divert the whole tragedy from occurring. I don't know, that's just a theory I have.
That's a really interesting thought. Although, I don't know why... If that was the case, I don't know why she would go through the trouble of, like, pretending to be his enemy. And, like... You know... Because if she really wanted to convince him, she could just be like, hey, I'm Angie, like... We'll fix this. You
Maybe
know?
there's something that's preventing her from doing that?
Could be.
Because there's a reason why they're playing this over and over again. You're right. Huh. That reason my theory might be a little flawed there, but I don't know.
It has some weight to it.
I'll probably come up with like 10,000 different other theories, but
yeah.
this is where things start to ramp up and we start getting... Actually, we have a lot of information already, and we can start to kind of maybe think about some theories.
Yeah.
Anyways. Even though he hadn't known that she was his sister, that was still such a miracle. It could have moved her to tears.
頼もしいわね。彼らと一緒に六軒島へ。駒たちがもうすぐ全て揃う。第4のゲームが幕を開ける。ベアともバトラももう席についてる頃よ。六軒島へ、私の、いや、みんなの運命を変えた。1986年10月4日の六軒島。
What happened on that day? I will expose that, learn that, and I'll take them back. Oh. As she stood there with her fists still clenched, she surely turned her face to the heavens. A single teardrop from the depths of her eye dripped down into the air. And when time started moving again, the two witches' figures were sucked into a blowing gale and erased in an instant.
So what is Berncastel the witch of again?
Berncastel.
Oh.
What?
Why are they do they always play the intro?
Maybe?
I don't remember.
Witch of Miracles, maybe? I think she's the Witch of Miracles.
She did mention something to Angie saying that like I can make a miracle if there's like a 1% chance that something would happen.
Oh, and Angie just said it was truly a miracle that her brother was able to notice her bumping into him.
Yeah.
So I think she's the Witch of Miracles.
This is such a good song. I love this.
And there's that scene from the end of last chapter. Mm-hmm. Jumping off the building.
I recognized that from this intro as soon as I saw it last time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good intro.
New guest. Huh?
This looks like the gold room. Yeah.
おはようございます、お嬢様。これは上機嫌なご様子。快適なお目覚めのようですな。
快適な目覚めだ。ワクワクして一睡もできなかったぞ。何しろ楽しい第4のゲームの幕開けだからな。
It seemed that she had truly been so excited that she hadn't gotten any sleep, and yet she showed absolutely no signs of tiredness. Was that due to her youth or her little mental age? Ronove chose not to say that out loud and laughed with a poo-coo-coo instead.
That was really good.
あのまんまと騙されたというバトラの顔。実にざまあなかった。それにしてもあやつめ、まだへこんでるのではあるまいな。
Soon.
Still not feeling down.
まあ、その。
I'm sure he's having a jolly good old laugh about how all his family getting killed was a very happy thing again.
Yeah.
あやつめ、いい年してちょっと素直すぎるとことか。
ございますな。そこが魅力とも申しますが。
そうであろう、そうであろう。
Well, people facing trauma most often are more sincere because they've been exposed to the hardships and tragedies of life. I wonder whose fault that is.
まあ、それでだ。前回のあれ、あやつめコロッと引っかかってくれたであろう。
Sign, sign.
生まれてからただの一度も人に騙されたことのない無垢なバラのつぼみにも似た純粋さをお嬢様が存分に住人を冬の朝美しき新雪の平原を存分に駆け回って踏みにじり尽くす喜びにも
Oh,
変え
he's
難い
really
でしょうな
he's subtly laying into her.
Yeah.
お嬢様はバトラ様の純粋な心を実に痛快に豪快に無残に無慈悲に無教養に実はちょっぴりやりすぎちゃったんじゃないかななんて不安になってしまうくらい
Ronove is the
暴虐
man.
の限りを尽く
He
されま
is.
したと普通ならへこむでしょうなそれはもう二度とお嬢様の顔も見たくないくらい
分かっておるではないか。
That went way over your head.
わらわはそのだな。いよいよ第4のゲームが始まるというのに、もしもあやつは意気消沈していて卓につかないというようなことがあったら、そうならば先に対策を準備した方が良いかと思い、お前に先にそれを問うたわけだ。
A countermeasure?
でしたらやはり対策をご用意された方がよろしいでしょうな。残念ながらバトラ様はお嬢様の例の北風と太陽作戦でかなりショックをお受けになったようです。
ほう、
Oh.
ショックというと。
Oh, come on. She's gonna pretend she actually cares now after everything that happened.
Vero lowered her voice slightly, asking timidly. I think she does care though, because like at the end of the chapter, she was making all those pained faces. Her face kept transitioning.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That was really weird.
Even after she tricked him and was joking about it, it seemed like part of her still was.
Like there's some conflict there
Yes.
within her.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. I completely forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Ronove went along with that and lowered his voice in the same way.
実は膝を抱いてうずくまられて
Curl up in the fetal position.
何度かお声をおかけしたのですがお返事をされません。お食事もお運びしたのですが手を触れた様子もありません。
Lie down, try not to cry. Cry a lot.
Cry a lot.
それは難儀だな。
I'll just bring some cookies to him.
あやつ、そこまでへこんで。
Some Kraus cookies.
I knew you were gonna say that.
無理もありますまい。何しろお嬢様が徹底的におやりになられましたからな。普通なら人間不信になりましょうな。
ほう、人間不信なら好都合。人間など見限って魔女を信じると良いぞ。ああ、すまぬ。ふざけが過ぎた。
Beato had tried to joke about it, but it seemed that the situation was quite serious, and picking up on this, she hid her laughter.
Gotta learn to read the room, Beato.
そんなにも深刻なのか。第4のゲームの開始はもう少し待ってやった方が良いか。
ベルンカステル教のお客人もおいでになっております。第4のゲームは速やかに開始された方がよろしいです。ただお嬢様はバトロ様に多少気を使われても良いかもしれませんな。
人な、どう使えば良いのか。
What?
あやつは落ち込んでいるのだから、そうだな、元気づけてやるとか。
What is up with this
心を
music?
暗く閉ざしたものに暗く接
Yeah,
して
it's like
も無駄
elevator
な
music.
こと。その暗闇に負けないほどの明るさで照らし出すほかないでしょう。しっかしょー、いい加減にしやがれ。
Oh,
What?
あんたごときにロノウェ様が焼いてくれたクロワッサンなんてもったいないもん。私が美味しく食べちゃおうかな。
Battler's stomach involuntarily growled at the fragrant smell of the croissant. His breakfast plate was empty, but he hadn't eaten any of it. The biggest glutton of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory, Beelzebub, had waited for Rotave to leave, and then had come to snatch all the food away. Battler had discovered her in the process, and they had been charging about causing a crazy amount of noise ever since. Even though Beelzebub could have ended it by either giving it back already or else throwing it into her own mouth, she intentionally ran around in circles, making fun of Battler.
俺の朝飯返しやがれ。今返したらデコピン一発で許してやる。もしも食ったりしてみろ。
What is?
代わりにお前を食べてやるぞって
Oh my god.
私を食べられるものなら食べてごらんなさいよ。きっと
捕まえた。今はてめえの太ももよりそのパンが食いてんだ。おとなしくそいつを返しやがれ。ふっかこいつ最後まで抵抗を。
Battler doesn't really seem like he's curled up in a ball.
Yeah.
ダメよダメよあげないもん。クロワッサンも私に食べてほしいって思ってるもん。
He's coming out to your thighs. Watch out.
イエーイヤッホーはよーバトラー
What? Has this turned into a sitcom?
I don't know what's going on.
朝っぱらからまだくよくよしてるのか。新しい一日とゲームの始まりであるぞ。元気出して行ってみよう。
The door opened forcefully, like a marathon runner drawn on a certain caramel box. What? Let's see what that means. Unless it didn't pop up yet. Tips. More. Glico Caramels, the Japanese confectionery company, Glico, also famous for producing Pocky. Oh, okay. Began its business in 1922 with boxes of Glico Caramels, which featured art of a running man triumphantly smiling with his arms raised. The marketing was that a single caramel gives you the energy to run 300 meters.
Interesting. Not possible, but interesting.
With her hands held high, and with an idiotic cheeriness, Beto appeared. For some reason, countless country flags and confetti scattered everywhere, creating what was clearly intended to be the perfect party atmosphere. Battler and Beelzebub, who were grappling on the floor over the croissant, completely forgot about their argument and stared at her speechless.
おはようございます。ベアトリーチェ様。それでは私はこれで。はい、バトロ君、して。
What the fuck?
I don't know. I
い
really
や
don't
お
know.
はようベアト。朝から絶好調なようで何よりだ。
Beto and Battler looked at each other. It seems that neither had a clue what was going on with the other. Cue, Elton John? Lion King?
Oh.
Can you feel the love?
Can you feel the love tonight?
どういうことだローノウェイ。元気そうじゃねえかよ。膝抱いてないし返事してるしというか食事中だったし。
いえいえ、毛布の中で膝を抱くようにぐっすりお休みでお目覚めの時間をお知らせしたのですが、まるでお気になられず。食事をしようにもいたずら猫が迷い込んでそれどころではなかったよう。
Let's just stop here and appreciate the irony.
Yeah, really.
よく言うぜ。てめえこそ前回はでっかく騙してくれやがったじゃねえか。事情はさっぱりだが、朝からいい気味だぜ。とりあえずロノベ。
恐れ入りますバトラス。
The two stuck their thumbs up as though they had forged some kind of male bond, chuckling together.
Nice.
For a while, Beto acted very energetically, trying to hide her embarrassment.
That music really is something else.
俺をあんまり舐めるんじゃねえ。まさか俺が膝を抱いてまだいじけてるとでも思ってたのかよ。
前回あれだけ悔し涙を流しておったのは、あの涙をたっぷりと小瓶にでも集め、化粧水にすればよかったわ。
What
Okay.
is that?
うるせえや。あれはてめえの下手くそな芝居の頂点会にみっともねえとこ見せちまったが、二度と同じ手が通用すると思うなってんだ。
無論よ。同じ手に何度も引っかかってわらわを失望させるな。
ああ、見てろよ。俺はくじけるたびに強くなる男だってことを教えてやるぜ。だがな、ベアト。
うん、なんだ。
二度とするな。
ほう、なんでだ。やはり絡めては苦手か。
俺とお前は敵同士で絶対に手を取り合うことはないってことを俺はもうはっきりと理解した。だからもう二度とそれを勘違いさせるような不愉快な真似をするな。
Good
そう
lord.
は言うがな、そなたの弱点と知って。
Beto thought they were still joking around, but that had disappeared from Battler's expression some time ago. Beto felt as though his eyes were like the surface of a black tea gone cold.
いいな、二度とするな。
わからんぞ。忘れた頃にまたやるかもな。
二度とするな。
Pierced by a strong and forceful gaze, Beto held her tongue. She may have thought that Battler would surely be the one to break that silence with laughter. However, Battler's serious expression didn't change in the slightest, so to break that silence, Beto had no choice but to start laughing herself.
それでよい。そなたとわらわは好敵視。どのような良好な関係になろうとも、敵同士であることの一線を越えることはな。そなたがそれを勘違いしなかったなら。
そうだな、お前が敵であることを二度と同じ醜態はさらさない。お前の絡め手にかかることは二度と。
第4のゲームが待ちきれないのは嬉しいぞ、バッツァ。席につけ。
ああ、望むところ。もう小手先の騙しは効かねえ。
生きがるな。前回のゲームの最後の謎、南條殺しの謎も降参したままのくせに。
今はまだ答えを保留するさ。だがな、くじけたわけじゃねえぞ。必ずお前の真っ赤な真実を破り。
良い心意気だ。やはりそなたは不死鳥のごとき男よ。わらわの見込みを裏切らぬ。それでは第4のゲームの幕を開けよう。
Here we
だ
go.
がその前に
Oh,
我らは新しい客人を迎えなければならないよ。
Oh, this is gonna be an interesting.
そなたも覚えておろう。前回のゲームの最後、招待状もなく現れ、余興を台無しにした謎の女よ。
あいつか。
He's gonna go crazy.
わ
when
ら
he
わ
finds
たちの
out.
ゲームに加わりたいというのでな、正式に招待状を送り、このロノウェ、客人を呼べ。
その必要はないわ。
oh.
もういるわよ。
She's here.
The voice that answered Beto's call came from it came from the darkness in a corner of the room.
Were you gonna say came from the corpse?
No, I was gonna say
おや
came from the
おや
carkness.
Carkness.
そなたも人が悪来ていたならば、挨拶の一つもすればよいもの。
私、殴る前に挨拶する習慣ないの。でも、殴り終わってからならしてあげるわ。
ほう、なんとする？
軍内、ハバナイスドリーム。
Huh.
Huh?
笑える。実に笑える。
Beto cackled and clapped her hands, but that was only Beto. Nothing rose to Battler's face except an uncertain smile.
Oh no.
What?
あんた、武闘派だな。
No, Battler.
Battler met eyes with the woman, shrugging his shoulders as he spoke. But the woman didn't answer her, only giving a cold stare in return.
前回は土壇場で世話になったな。礼を言うぜ。
Battler,
Man,
don't
I'm
hit on
gonna-
your sister, please.
あなたがぶったるんでただけよ。
私は目を覚ませ。そうだな。バトラはぶったるんでるな。
Vero
That's
tried to
a lot.
laugh in agreement, but the woman wasn't listening. She did absolutely nothing except stare at Battler with ice cold eyes.
There's a lot to unpack
ど
there.
うやら俺は嫌われてるみてえだな。
あなたが本気で戦ってないからイラついてるだけよ。
俺が本気じゃないだと。
まさかあの低たらくが本気だったとでも？バカにしないで。いつまでこんな魔女の茶番に付き合ってるつもりなの？
俺は俺なりにベアトと戦ってる。もちろん本気でだ。
本気で？笑わせないで。魔女といつまでも永遠にお茶を飲んで談笑しているだけのあなたが冗談は髪型だけにして。
そりゃ俺も最初はこの魔女のゲームに不慣れで。
I think his hairstyle's pretty cool. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
だがな、
I think her
ようやく戦い
hairstyle's
方
kind
や
of weird.
そのコツが見えてきた。
Why is it weird? What's weird about her hairstyle? Hello? You still there? I think we lost Matt.
Hello?
Oh, you're there? Cool. What did you say
Yeah,
was
like-
weird?
It cut out.
Dang.
I was just saying I thought her hairstyle is a little weirder than his.
Why?
I don't know, just like the two, like... Actually, you know what? Come to think of it, those hair pieces kind of look like... Doesn't Maria have hair pieces like that?
Huh. She might. Oh, I thought she had a clip in her hair.
Oh. Yeah, maybe.
Hmm.
Well, in any case.
俺のこれまでの無様さがあんたには本気でないように見えたのなら、それは誤りだぜ。
そう？
確かに俺がベアとの胸ぐらをつかみ上げるのに必要な距離はまだかなりあるだろうと思う。しかしその距離はどれほど長大であろうとも言う。そして俺はゲームを重ねるごとに一歩一歩確実にその距離を詰めている。
He has
時
been
間
getting
はかか
better.
ろうとも
Mm-hmm.
あの魔女を追い詰め必ずチェックメイトする。それには奴がよく口にするように1000年をかけるかもしれねえ。だがそれでもいつか必ず打ち勝つ。なぜか俺が絶対に負けを認めない。絶対に立ち止まらない。追い詰め続ける。だからつまり言えることは、俺はいつか必ずあの魔女に勝つってことだ。
気の長い話ね。あなた勝つ気あるの？有限もその扱いを間違えれば無限と化す。今のあなたはすでに亀すら追い越せないアキレスなのよ。なるほどね。私が必要なわけだわ。こんなざまじゃ何億年をかけようとも無限の魔女に勝てるわけがない。
お前は何者なんだ。名前くらい聞かせてくれたって。
At that point, the woman fell silent, gazing straight into Battler's eyes. At first, Battler faltered under the firmness of that look, and his gaze wavered slightly, but as her eyes continued to stare into his, gradually he found himself becoming lost in them. And in their depths, he saw a light that he had seen at some time before. Battler was struck by how strongly they resembled the eyes of a girl who definitely couldn't be here. But that was completely impossible.
そんなバカなとは思うんだが、なぜかそんな気がするんだ。でもそんなことあるわけがない。まだあいつは6歳のはずだ。お前まさかエンジェなのか。
そうだと言ったらあなたは信じるの？言い方を変えるわ。私はあなたの味方よ。だから信用して。あなたは信じるの？初対面の正体不明の女が自分の知人になんとなく似ているからという理由だけであなたは無条件に信用してしまうの？そんなお人よしだから前回のゲームであっさり騙されて悔し涙をボロボロこぼすことになるのよ。あなた自分で言ったわ。その子は6歳なんでしょ？私が6歳に見える？にもかかわらず私がその子だと実証したならそれを鵜呑みにするの？
それを言われると弱えな。すまん。そうだな。俺はお人よしだ。そいつを前回のゲームで思い知らされたはずなのに、お前が言う
She's
俺が
wearing the
本気じゃない
eagle
っての
though.
はそういう意味か。
That is true.
そうよ。
Interesting.
あなたは魔女と戦っているつもりでしょうけど、ただ慣れ合って遊んでいるだけ。チェスで仲良く戦って遊んでいるだけなのよ。
But so is all the furniture.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they're just pieces, but
あなたたち
although I
にと
guess
って
Ronave
それは
isn't.
真剣勝負でしょうけれど、
He's a piece and a player.
possibly.
Yeah. So like, what are? So if Beato and Battler are the players, what about Berncastel, Lambda Delta, Ronave, Virgilia? Like, are they considered players too? Because they exist also in this like meta four-dimensional world, you know?
I think they have player versions and piece versions.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But they're not like, because if it's a game of chess, like they've always told us it is, there can only be 2 players.
Yes.
So are
But-
they like in a middle ground?
They might be spectators.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
それを離れて見ている私には、仲良くルールに守られて、ただ遊んでいるようにしか見えない。
きついな。
でも、その大遊びに勝てない限り、あなたはここから解放されない。
We still don't know how he wins.
Yeah.
だから私が来たのよ。このゲームに決着をつけるためにね。今のあなたは、魔女を追い詰めていると称しながら、車輪の中を延々と走り続けるハムスター。あれか。夜な夜なくるくると車輪の中を走り続けるあれか。車輪の中を走り続けることは一見、無限のように思えるかもしれない。無限の魔女ベアトリーチェ。まるであなたのことね。そして、その車輪の中で戦ってるつもりで滑稽にいつまでも走り続けているのが彼。
They have to
これは
break the
ゲーム
wheel.
じゃない。
Mm-hmm.
彼を永遠に閉じ込めているだけのカゴでしかない。
R.I.P. Game of Thrones.
わらわの無限をネズミが遊ぶ車輪風情に呼ばわるか。面白い面白い。ある次元における無限はより高次元において無限をなさないものよ。メンガーのスポンジが無限の表面積を持つのは3次元未満の世界での話。
What is a Manger sponge?
I can look it up.
Sure.
In mathematics, the Menger sponge is a fractal curve. It is a 3-dimensional generalization of the 1-dimensional Cantor set and 2-dimensional Sierpinski carpet. It was first described by Carl Menger in 1926 in his studies of the concept of topological dimension.
Okay, that doesn't seem like I'm gonna understand that easily, so...
I don't understand it, and I'm the one who said it.
Sierpinski carpet? I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
Anyways.
3次元の現実においては質量ゼロ。無限どころか存在さえできない。威勢のいい女よ。わらわの敵を名乗る程度の資格はあるらしい。
あんた何者なんだ。
私はあなたの味方、そして魔女の敵よ。もちろん信じなくていい。私が本当にあなたの味方であるかなんて、むしろ私のことをうさんくさいと思うくらいの警戒心の方が望ましいわ。
そうだな。前回ひでえ目に遭わされたんだ。そのくらいの用心深さは必要だな。俺もう二度と騙されるのはごめん。
Battle laughed with true satisfaction in a way that was insulting only to Battler.
人はいきなり騙されたりはしない。自らの確認を怠り、それを他人に委ねたとき、騙される。
You didn't get tricked.
他の人が渡り始めたから、
No.
もう信号は青
I
になったと
almost
思った
got tricked.
じゃあ
I was buying
事
into
故
it a
の言い
little
訳には
bit
ならないってこと。
right before the party. And then that whole thing happened and I was like, nah. Come on.
わか
Come
る。
on.
ああ、わかるぜ。与えられた情報を鵜呑みにするんじゃなく、自分の頭で考えろってことだろ。俺はベアトに見せられた魔法を鵜呑みにしていた。考えることをやめていたからダメだったんだ。
Battler Grimmon said he remembered his many painful losses. Seeing that, the witch laughed and audaciously once again.
私はあなたが有利になるように助言する。もちろんあなたは私のそれを鵜呑みにすべきではない。私が味方であることの絶対の保証なんて誰にもできないのだから。
In the last game, Virgilia, who had thought was an ally, turned out to be on the witch's side after all. Battler couldn't get that eerie smile worn by Virgilia, who he had even thought as if dependable, out of his head.
だから私を無条件で信用なんてしなくていい。故に私の助言も参考意見程度に留めてもらって大いに結構。だって魔女とのゲームを戦っているプレイヤーはあなたなんだから。
そうだな。外野の指し手に従って打ったから負けたなんて情けねえ言い訳だもんな。
そうとも。わらわの相手はバトラよ。そなたなど外野に過ぎぬわ。それをわきまえているとは良いこと。
いいえ、外野じゃないわ。ベアトリーチェと後ろ宮バトラー、そしてそれを俯瞰する私がまるで三角形のような形になって戦うのよ。一見これは共闘ではないけれど、一緒に戦うばかりが共闘ではない。
ほう、珍妙なことを言い出す。
さっき彼は戦うことをあなたとの距離を詰めると表現した。でも一つの目では距離は測れない。二つの目があって初めて物事は立体的に見え、その距離も測れる。そして二つの視点があっても同じ場所からでは意味がない。離れている方が魔女を正確に測ることができる。
異なる立場から、異なる角度で撃つ十字砲火ってことだな。面白いぜ。
異なる立場から異なる角度で撃つ。だから私は誰とも慣れ合わない。自分の立ち位置をずらし魔女を挟み撃ちにするために。
いいのか、バトラー。
Every time.
その女は実はわらわが差し向けた不平かもしれない。
That's an insect face.
もっともらしいことを言って、
Yeah.
そなたを信用させようとしているだけかもしれぬぜ。
Yeah.
かもな。こいつはさっきからそれをずっと重ねていっている。だからこいつの助言はもちろん鵜呑みになんかできない。だがそれが信用に値するものか否か、俺は自ら考えて取捨することができる。俺が自ら考えることをやめない限り、俺はもう誰にも騙され。
大した自信だぞ、後ろ宮バトラ。そこまで言い切ったそなたをコロリとまた騙してみたいぞ。そして再び騙されたことを知った時のそなたがどんな顔を浮かべるのか、わらわは見てみたい。気に入った。
なあ、あんたは俺の名を知ってるようだが、俺はあんたの名を知らない。名前を聞かせてくれ。
For a while, the woman remained silent without the slightest change in her expression. She looked as though she couldn't decide whether to say her name or not, or possibly as though she was deciding what to call herself on the spot.
Probably the latter.
グレーテル。
グレテル？お前がか？
バカね、名前よ。私のことはグレーテルと呼んで。
じゃあ俺はヘンゼルとでも名乗った方がいいか？冗談さ。俺は後ろ宮バトラ。
I think we know that.
バトラと呼んでくれ。
よろしく。握手は嫌い。気を悪くしないでね。
そうだな。悪い。お前が味方と決まったわけじゃないしな。警戒心を持てって言われたばかりなのに。
Battler drew back that right hand that stuck out. His bitter smile disappeared and was replaced by a strong expression of resolve for the new game now in its 4th iteration.
バトラー、あなたはどうして魔女に勝たなければならないのか。気に入らないからやっつけるなんて抽象的なものではダメ。絶対に魔女を打ち倒してこの世界から抜け出すという強い信念を持って。あなたの帰りを待っている人が必ずいるから。その子のためにも。
Maybe she had something on her mind. Gretel clenched the fist in front of her chest and hung her head in silence at a loss for words for a short while. Beato spoke up in a forceful voice, shattering that silence.
よし。これにてグレーテルとやらの自己紹介も十分であろう。さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。10月4日に何があったのか。
October 4th, what form did you used to have?
Return.
第4のゲームの幕開けであるぞ。
In unison with her voice, the clock, which had been turned back to October 4th, 1986, started to move as though blown by a suddenly raging storm.
One might even say a typhoon.
While we remained in the witch's tea room, the blue-gray sea and the green Rukenjima spread out beneath us, and we could see the boat heading there, trailing a wake behind it. The sky was already cloudy, and it seemed that the barrier of the typhoon would soon shut the island away. The boat docked in the harbor, and Goto, who had been waiting there, could be seen helping to unload it. You like this track?
The absolute unit is back.
Oh, the absolute
But yes,
magical chef Goto.
The music is really good. Is this a new one?
I think we've heard this once before.
Okay.
And finally, the boat dropped off all the passengers and began to separate from the island. Their relatives started to get swallowed up by the island.
マリアは相変わらず元気だな。
マリアちゃん、気をつけないと転ぶよ。気をつけて。
All my fondly remembered cousins I had loved so much dashed away through the beach, disappearing as they were sucked into the forest path leading to the mansion. And of course, Oni-chan could be seen among them too.
くっそー、待て待てマリアー、こんなすばしっこいやつめ。
Maria Oni-chan, who I had loved, dashed away and Oni-chan chased after her. They were swallowed up by the forest.
Oh, that's right. Maria's would be older than Angie at this point.
Following pursuit, Mom and Dad were also swallowed up. The rest of my relatives were swallowed up too. Swallowed up, leaving only me behind.
バカ、いつまでこんなところで魔女と戯れて遊んでいるのよ。早く帰ってきてよ。お兄ちゃん、私を一人ぼっちにしないで。そして気がついて、残された私がどれだけ辛く寂しい世界で孤独を強いられるかを。
Is that the end of the chapter?
Yep.
ごきげん